Hey fellow explorers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Enshrouded. Episode 9, Venturing Deeper into the Shroud. Alright, you guys voted for base aesthetics. Make the town nicer. Okie dokie. So let's see here. As far as the decorations go, I don't really have access to anything that looks all that nice. What I can do is set up like scaffolding as if it was defensive structures. So I think before I do anything else, we should look at all the other aesthetic options that I have available to me. So she does carpets, which is, there's no need to put carpets on the outside. That doesn't make a lot of sense. What would make sense, however, is to plant some trees in like a planter in the middle of town. Like right outside my home. So let's do that. Berry bushes, you are... I don't see berries yet. Alright, so here's the rest of the seedlings. I'm just going to leave it there. What we're going to want is... I kind of like the Revelwood red leaf seedlings. I like the way they look. So for us to be able to do that, we need farm soil and twigs. I have lots of twigs. Twigs are everywhere. I might need to make the farm soil. So here's the twigs. No, I got some farm soil. So we'll make 2 of those. I'll put 2 of those trees right outside my my home. There we go. And then while we wait on that, I'm also going to want to build something that looks somewhat resembling a planter for that spot. Right? So, if we take a look at the build shapes that we got, it should have, like, terrain, probably farm terrain, roughly in the middle. And then around it, maybe grass? Or something pretty like that? So we can do fertile springland dirt. And then we can even put fences around it, too. I don't really like the aesthetics of that grass. Yeah, as far as walls go, you can do whatever you want. The game is really permissive about all that. I think what I'll do is I will put regular dirt. Let's see what regular dirt looks like. So the middle, where the tree's gonna go, is like super fertile. Oh, and then everywhere else is just standard grass. Which in this case is just called dirt. And then they'll work. Alright, if we want some sort of fence-looking thing, there's a bunch of different things, different ways to accomplish that. Let's get the rough wood blocks and see if there's something we do with rough wood blocks that looks decent. So on the 1 meter scale, I find 1 meter scale is kind of hard to work with. So there's wall frames, but these are like too high. They're too tall. These are technically wall blocks, but they're not... I mean, I could put them down. As you can see, they're a bit thick, like, they're not how you would design fences. So I think in this case, we're probably going to result in doing, like, crude wood fences. Because everything else is too chunky, I think. They're not... They don't look right. So grab the wood, grab the string, and I'll build one as a prototype. And see how that one looks. So it would look like that. Build the rest and see if it looks okay. Of course, this requires a lot of string, but yeah, that's fine. I actually think it might look better opened up, maybe? To the front? If anything, I would actually say that kind of makes my front yard look like some sort of animal coop. What I could do is I can hold on to these fences for when I have a goat pet, but I don't really like the aesthetics of that either. I think if anything, it would look better if I put like flowers around the tree. Rather than, you know, anything else. I think flowers around the tree would look nicest. In terms of the other things I can craft. There is the wooden gates, which I could put in front. Some sort of like entry gate. But I really don't like the... Essentially, I don't have like a carpenter yet. So almost all the furniture that I can make looks hideous. To my eyes. So I think what I'll do is I'll just wait for the trees. And that will have to be enough. Oh, you know what? I canceled that because we already got 5 trees out of that one stack. Okay. Well, that's a good start. I'll leave the water in there, but I'm gonna pull everything else out so it doesn't get consumed. What else can I make that would look nice? So let's check. So I think everything the blacksmith can make. I could have like scrap cages or vats or whatever. I just don't have a good place to put them. Maybe a few dishes. Fight fire with on my own table. I feel bad for the other villagers that are not going to benefit, but I can't decorate everyone's home. Or, I mean, I guess I could technically, but it would just be a lot of work. You still here? Problem is, this table is the correct height for a plate, but not the end table, which is a little weird. Is there? The rest of these, I'll just maybe delete. I don't really need them. Alright, so that's a little aesthetics. The options that I'll have available to me get a lot better later on. If you want me to continue working on that, feel free. So as far as questing goes, we could do animal farming. Resource gathering, I would add in a mushroom farm. Building essentials, I would probably work on the carpentry assistance to get the carpenter. And then if you want me to improve equipment, I could do some of the quests that have me get equipment items. Have you guys decide real quick. Make sure all of my loot is nice and organized. The other thing, which would be wise to take a look at. So upgrading the altar requires 5 shroud cores. And that increases the area which we could build. And then strengthening the flame requires wax, salt, sparks, shroudwood, flintstone, mycelium, and the scavenger matron helmet. Now, I would say this is probably not worth pursuing until I got the matron helmet, because that's the only thing on the list that I don't know where to, we haven't, like, interacted with yet. So it doesn't really make sense to, like, go down to figure out how to do that. Wow, you guys are really split in the polls. The other thing I wanted to do is to make some powdered charcoal. So I'm going to switch the recipe here for coal powder, so that we can have a little bit of that to play with as well. There we go, we got our bone meal. So, with this bone meal, once we need to make more farm soil, that's really no problem at all. I would still say, like, digging it up is even cheaper, but, you know, at least we have it. Alright, gonna go dry some more fur. And then, looks like improving equipment. So the few different ways to improve my equipment. One is we can try to get the rewards for this quest, because this quest has a reward of boots. I don't know if it's gonna be better than what I currently have on, but and then there's the Eternal Spell. This Eternal Spell allows us to cast Ice Bolt continuously, so that's technically equipment. That'd be nice to have. And then the other thing is we could try to find the enemies that we need in order to get the Airrated Banshee Gel. And I think what I'm going to do is go for Airrated Banshee Gel.
Fight fire with fire.
So, find banshees to kill. And that's going to be in the Shroud. And maybe it will be near the salt mine location, so we could bang both of those out together. That might not be a bad call. Oh, here we go. Coal powder. I'm just going to put that back for now, but at least we have it for the first time. So, fast traveling over to right where we left off. I forget what the reward was for that brother quest, too. What did it say? Oh, those are the boots? Well, while we're here, let's start off by doing one last journey, because it's just next to us. To the south, not very far. One thing I failed to do is to max out my rested time before I departed, but I think we'll be fine. So it looks like on the terrain map it wants me to climb. This is maybe the easiest way up. Double jump billy goat. Oops. Alright, gotta wait for my stamina. Getting a little, rowdy. Now, one way, which I demonstrated last stream, that you can always go ahead is, like, you can mine your way to gain access to a new area. It's just very boring, and I'm trying to avoid doing it for your benefit. But if you're ever, like, stuck to try to find the valid path, you can just dig a little bit. Like, dig some nooks out of the mountainside, and that will prove a pretty useful tool to forge your own path. And I'm pretty sure we're... Yep. Perfect. Well, I don't think it intended for me to do that way, but if it works. Maybe I shouldn't do a power attack from that height. Well, got a little overeager. That wolf was like, ooh, free meal. Wait, where'd his body go? I've been tricked. That you have. So when you die, you drop a sack of shame. So we just have to path back to our sack of shame and loot it. If you fall into like a crevasse or something, the game's I have noticed the game's really good about not putting your loot. So like in this case, it didn't even put my loot where I died exactly. It put my loot like where I started climbing. That way you can't like fall to your death and then have your loot be impossible to retrieve. Fine. I'll wait for the stamina. Also, I'll demonstrate daggers in this fight too. Or not, because... There we go. So, what is even down here? I would say daggers are like... Oh, it's a flint mine. I did just use all my flint to make the grind wheel, so I might as well just get a little bit more flint in case I need it for something while I'm down here. Mining that flint with steel must be bright to watch. Yeah. So this is an ancient obelisk. And in this case, there's a bunch of quests here too. So here's the Wanderer boots. If we hit K, we can compare it. They have a little bit more physical resistance, less, a little bit more magical, less physical, and a little bit stamina regens to health regen. I'm going to keep the boots I have on now. Tired. We would pretend to read them as children, but now the Agalas hide their truths. Yep. No one hears your prayers. In a world destined for ruin, humanity will fade as all beings do. Their light will flicker and die, untouched by the eternal flame. Meaningless and minuscule in the face of near endless insight, burning brightly, turning to dust as we turn to fire, an endless cycle of ruin and turmoil. Ah, just so enlightening. There we go. That part is done. We found the ancient obelisk, and now we can turn back to the salt mine. And I'm going to be lazy and just fast travel to the altar site. Alright, location is below us. Again, this is the salt mine quest, which I'm hoping will also have banshees near it, because we did spot a Shroud Route near it, and some Shroud Routes are guarded by banshees, so that's the hope, that we'll find both in this next spot. Do I have any consumables that would help me down there? Not really. So down we go. Okay. A one-handed sword that is already better than our current one. Or rather, I'm being shot at. We'll upgrade to a level 10 weapon, whereas this only maxes out at 8. So we might want to pivot. It's odd to be finding so many, like, legendary weapons all at once. But, you know, that happens. So here we go. Here's the salt mine. It's really easy to get loads and loads and loads of salt. And that should have finished the quest. Yep. So there is a critter nest down here that I'm being told is a point of interest. So let's clear it out. And a ammonite imprint. So there are like fossils and relics to collect as like just a fun collectible. Alright, I think the nest is pretty cleared out. Well, one of them at least. And they count as, like, monster spawners. So if you're trying to clear out a dangerous area, go for the nests. Alright, we're done. I just need to... I jumped down... Oh, here we go. This is the way out. Alright, so there was a Shroud Route somewhere to our north that we're going to clear out next. And I left the restore time there so that once we came back out, we could sort of reset our shroud time. So I'm going to climb up a little bit just to get my bearings, but I'm pretty sure I saw the Shroud Route this way? So it's sort of up to the northwest? Up this path, maybe? Yep, there it is. And these enemies are like more my level. The enemies below were like level 3. And these are 5s. Not that they're going to be too much trouble. And this is a good way to loot shroud spores and runes, which is good for upgrading your altars and upgrading the flame weapons and all that stuff. What happens when the timer runs out? You die. There it is. Cleared. But it did not have a banshee. In that case... And this was a Shroud Route. In that case... Because I just cleared this out, I can fast travel from this location. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to fast travel to. Maybe I'll fast travel over here. When you clear the route, the immediate area becomes cleansed. The roots will regrow, but you don't get skill points for clearing them multiple times. So it's the first time only. So now we're just headed to somewhere into the Shroud to try to find Banshees. One of the issues that might be happening is I'm like level 5 or 6, and Banshees are like more like a level 8 enemy, so I might need to go somewhere more difficult than I'm used to in order to find Banshees, because it's just not spawning them for me, because it doesn't think I'm high enough level. Like, I haven't been to the areas that are high enough level for them. But there is a point of interest directly below me, and it looks like it's that tower center of the screen. As Gear, thank you for the resub. It is a gem forge. So you can imagine, the gem forges are how you add gems to your weapon. Not all weapons can be gemmed, but the legendary weapon I have on me can. And here it is. Each gem forge requires a unique resource for upgrading and inserting gems. The level gems can be upgraded to its limited upgrade is limited for each forge. Seek out forges in more dangerous areas to unlock higher levels. So the max gem level for this forge is level 10, and it requires Archaic Essence, which is level 5 essence. There's other Archaic Essences which are higher level. You can use this power to infuse gems with energy, Archaic Essence, or extract it from them. These gems can then be inserted into weapons to unlock powerful effects. So in my weapons, see these little, like, well, gem sockets? These gem sockets, empty gem slot, indicate that it's a gemmable weapon. So my current weapons are gemmable. Also, the forge themselves, as you can see, is refreshing my shroud timer. So you don't die standing here, but as soon as I leave the area, it starts to deplete me. Alright. I think what I'm gonna do is wander around in the Shroud a little bit in order to try to find Banshees. Because they're gonna be in the Shroud. So let's go northeast and see about just like killing some dudes. Will also give me Shroud items too, which I can use to upgrade forges and weapons and all that jazz. And then you can see the gem forge. Now some gem forges, little spoiler, some gem forges can only be visited at night for game mechanic reasons. That gem forge was a visit whenever, but that's because it's like the lowest level gem forge that doesn't have those special requirements. What we're hoping to do is to find high level enemies in here, if at all possible. Which usually means going to like Shroud Routes, Elixir Wells, you know, any point of interest in the Shroud, which might host bosses. So, Dumb Hunter, the reason why it's designed not to be permanently cleared, is on multiplayer, that wouldn't work. Right? Like, if you could permanently clear it on multiplayer, other players wouldn't then be able to clear it out. And if it respawned only for you locally, then there's the whole issue of desync for, like, Shroud Routes to be cleared for some players and not for others. Then you would require, like, the concept of instances. And for a server to host a bunch of instances is like a different mechanical problem. So, although it's not perfect, I think it's a result of like game mechanic compromises. Now these guys are still level 5. It's not to say I'm not gonna find a Banshee up in here, but I think I need like enemies that are level 7-ish for there to be higher likelihood of Banshees. Oh god. Ow. Okay. I'm in danger. I didn't mean to fall down here. This is a salt mine, but the level below me would just like insta-kill me if I fell that far, so I'm glad I didn't fall all the way down. So let's get out of that hole and stay away from that area. There's also the issue of my weapon is like pretty broken. It's like 40% or so. Having 2 weapons, smart idea. I mentioned this like last stream, but like having 2 primaries that you can switch off of is really useful. So you can't be like in the middle of like deep shroud and end up having to punch things. Looks like I'm about to exit the shroud this way. Oops, I tried to block with my no stamina. So as you can see, I followed the like shroud crevasse this way. But because I'm further from where the starting area is, it's also a higher tiered difficulty, meaning that we're like heading roughly in the right direction for finding Banshees, because we have to get away from like the lobby zone. Now would also be a good idea to drop another altar. You know what? Fine. Just eat a fireball. Because I wouldn't necessarily want to run through all the places that I just ran through to get back to this area. So having a fast travel site around here would be kind of nice, because that run would be unfun. Especially given that it wasn't particularly difficult. It's also worth reminding everyone that sometimes when you claim like villages, you script quests that are incorporated in that village. So I want to put my altar here and not over near this building, because if this building has a quest site, claiming the area can mess up whatever quests are in there. I mentioned this last stream, but if that ever happens to you, the solution essentially is just create another server or join someone else's server and travel to that area where it doesn't have a base, and you'll be able to do the quest. Ooh, free repair. Nice. I was about to say I should return back home for repair, but then I found an anvil. I mean, how bad does the situation have to be that you decide to die in your bathtub? I feel like they're... Oh, hello. I was gonna say, I feel like the basement should be bigger. It is bigger. Another wand. For my... Wands are, like, pretty worthless for my character. The only range I really need is the stabs. I'm keeping a wand just in case I run out of spells for the staff, but once I get the eternal spell, I'm not even going to bother with the wands. I'll just nuke them. Oh, there's really high comfort level here. 12, oh, 16? Yep, there we go. We have 21 minutes of rested. All of the little manor houses that you find out in the countryside generally give you pretty good rested if you have your torch out. Okay, I think this one's done. A Story of Rot. Finding and using a gem forge and eternal spell all near me. So because I don't really know where the banshees are, I'll just do the quests in the vicinity, because, like, I got nowhere better to be, and hopefully we'll end up finding banshees in the process. My inventory is pretty full, but it's not about to top up just yet. A temple ruin. Ooh, spideys. Spiders are pretty good. Like, I find that string is kind of a... Oh, hello. String's kind of annoying to, like, mass produce. And spiders have it as a standard loot. So spiders are really useful when you're, like, constantly trying to replace the string that you use for bandages and whatnot. Provided you're not arachnophobic, I guess. Given that I've recently been playing Grounded, these spiders seem particularly small to me. Also, if you'd like skull aesthetic, certainly no shortage of bone here to mine up and build crypts and tombs out of. Alright, what am I missing? There must be a hook on the roof. On the ceiling. So that's the door. And the button is here. Oh, I done pissed someone off. Okay, all that work for some cosmetics. I can look like a musketeer. No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Alright, Story of Rot is right ahead of me. Should be an obelisk. Yeah, there it is. Unforeseen, humanity is ephemeral. Nothing but a brief moment in time. A breath long taken, the blink of an eye. Yet, despite their mortal nature, they have created fire. A flame of their own to brighten their impending dawn. Story of Rot, completed. So, Temple Ruin, Obelisk, we have a Flame Shrine. Let's go to the shrine next. I don't mind getting some sparks. And that would be down this way, back into the ruins. There's also like a little bandit camp over here. I'm just gonna see if there's any like bosses or anything. Looks pretty sparse. Actually, it's a bridge? Ah, they're bridge trolls. Don't shoot me. Or you can try. Surprise! And a bunch of bats. Backpack full. Alright, what don't I need? Fireflies? And they gave me fur patches, which is the same thing you loot off of, like, rats. Thank you for tuning in to Enshrouded, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow flameborn.